Install FTP Server on Xampp. Install FileZilla Client. Hello, tutorial shows you how to install and configure FileZilla FTP Server on Xampp later, and how to install FileZilla Client. These are the main steps. Step 1. Download and install FileZilla FTP Server on Xampp. Configure and secure FTP Server. Step 2. Download and install FileZilla FTP Client. Connect your website remotely using FTP. As you see, the FileZilla FTP Server is disabled, because we did not install it. So, let's install FileZilla Server, and make it work with the Xampp control panel. Open web browser, and download it from official website. Or you can find download link below in the description. Make sure you download the FileZilla Server, not the client. We will install FileZilla Client later. Go to Xampp directory, and create a new folder, FileZilla FTP. Make sure you consider capital letters when you name the folder. Right-click on the installation file and run it as administrator, then click Agree. In the first window, check only FileZilla Server and Administration Interface. Click Next. Navigate to the folder, which we have created, that is FileZilla FTP. Then delete default installation folder. Click Next. In the drop-down menu, select Do Not Install as Service, Start Server Automatically. And uncheck Start Server after Setup Completes option. Click Next. In the drop-down menu, select Start Manually. Uncheck Start Interface after setup completes, and click Install. Allow FileZilla Server to communicate on both networks. Stop all servers, and quit Xampp. Open Xampp Control any file with Notepad. Under Enable Modules, set FileZilla to equal 1. Under Binary Names, just divide the FileZilla server by pressing the spacebar key. Save the file, and start Xampp Control Panel. As you see, the FileZilla server is enabled. But we have an error. port 14147 is used, and the server does not start. Let's check which application is using port 14147. Open Task Manager, and go to Performance tab. Open Resource Monitor. Go to Network tab. Open the Listening Ports sidebar, and find port 14147. Looks good. It looks like the FileZilla server somehow was started automatically. So, we just need to restart the process. Open the Task Manager again, and go to the Processes tab. Under Background Processes, find and select FileZilla Server, and click on End Task. Let's try to start FileZilla Server now. Works fine. Okay, let's configure and secure FileZilla FTP Server for our website. In Xampp Control Panel, along the FileZilla module, click Admin button. This opens FTP Server interface. In Connect to Server box, enter server address and administration password. Leave port number by default. Click Connect to connect FileZilla FTP Server. First of all, let's fix these warnings. Open FileZilla Server Settings to make basic configuration of the FTP server. General Settings. You can change default FTP connection port from here. This doesn't really secure your server, but it obscures it and makes it harder to find. So we just testing, and I leave it by default for the moment. Welcome message. Here you can enter your custom server welcome message. IP bindings. Here you can set which IP addresses on the server it will bind to. We need to use the star to bind to all addresses, so leave it by default. IP filter. Here you can block the IP addresses of unwanted users. For example, in the first field, you can add the star to block all IP addresses from connecting to your server. And in the second field, you can add the individual IP addresses, or address ranges, that you want to allow. Passive mode settings. If you want to allow connections to your FTP server from the internet, you should allow the FileZilla server to use a specific range of ports for passive mode connections. So, tick the checkbox next to the Use Custom Port Range. Then choose Port Range. It is better to choose ports between 40,000 to 50,000. But make sure your port range is not being used by another application. Open Task Manager, and go to Performance tab. Open Resource Monitor. Go to Network tab. Open the Listening Ports sidebar. Sort the ports from Port section, and check your chosen ports. When you make sure that your chosen port range is not used, enter it in the following fields. Then, tick the checkbox to retrieve the external IP address from the following server. Security settings, miscellaneous, admin interface settings. If you follow my configuration, I leave these settings by default. It's up to you. Logging. You can enable logging to file. It allows you to keep track of what is happening on your server. Use a different log file each day. This option is for high-usage servers. In the speed limits, you can set max download and upload speeds for the server. File transfer compression. I leave it by default. FTP over TLS settings. Enable FTP over TLS support, FTPS. Generate new certificate. So, with this option, users can securely connect to your FTP server. Save your self-signed certificate somewhere in your server. Better to create new folder for your certificate. OK, certificate generated successfully. Enter key password. OK, then we need to port forward all following ports. Port 21. Range of ports that we used in passive mode. And port 990. You can find helpful guides on this website of how to correctly port forward using your router. So, let me quickly port forward on my router. Done, let's check it. Works fine. Reconnect to your server. As you see, all warnings have been fixed. OK, let's add new user and share website folder. Go to Edit, Users. Click Add, and type username. Click OK to create new user. Create password for new user. Then go to Shared Folders, and share your website folder. You can give special rights to the selected user. Let's check it. This is my shared folder. It contains 2 files. Open Opera web browser. Make sure that VPN is on. This website is online FTP client, so you can connect to your FTP server from anywhere. Type your FTP credentials, and click OK to connect your FTP server. OK, we have successfully connected to the FTP server. These are my shared files. Let's add new file for test. New file has been created. Let's check it in my servers folder. Works fine. You can also install FTP client to connect to your FTP server remotely from anywhere. Step 2. Download and install FileZilla FTP client. Connect your website remotely using FTP. This is another virtual machine with a different network. OK, open your web browser, and download FileZilla FTP client. You can find download link below in the description. Double-click on FTP client and install it. Create new connection, so then you can connect to your FTP server with one click. Go to File, Site Manager, and create new site. Name your connection. From Protocol tab, you can choose connection type. I leave it by default. In the host field, enter your hostname, or public IP address of your FTP server. Port number, if you leave empty, it automatically uses port number 21, so you can leave this field blank. Encryption, leave it by default. OK, then enter the username and password of your FTP server. And click OK to save changes. To connect FileZilla FTP Server, click on the site, which we just created. Click OK on certificate window. That's all, we have successfully connected to the FTP server. OK, let's check it. Works fine. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and get more great tips.